Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story that I've got for you guys today, an update from yesterday's video. Michael Krizo, the Photoshop scandal. He posted an update admitting that the picture was Photoshopped. So to catch you guys up to speed, I'll show you guys the original picture first. This was the picture that he posted on his Instagram feed yesterday after a guest posing in Bulgaria at a local NPC show. Obviously, the two things that jumped out to a lot of people were his arms looked really distorted, and if you look down at his left quad, you can see the border of the box next to his quad, where his quad is really flaring out, is really bent, curved, and distorted. So this had a lot of people thinking he photoshopped the picture, and immediately Michael Krizo was responding defensively on his stories and in his own comment section, and it looks like now he actually deleted this original post, and he put this post on his story, saying, okay, now he sent me the original picture, yes, he photoshopped it, implying that the guy he took the picture with, and this was the same thing that he implied yesterday, and he even showed messages with this guy, was that the guy photoshopped it, Michael Krizo saw it, and then just reposted it from the guy as it was. And in the original, he still looks massive, he still looks really big. His arms really don't look like they were photoshopped as much as the legs, and you can see if you go down, looking at that box in the background, no curve, no distortion, not photoshopped, clearly in this original picture. And then he also took it one step further to post the picture on his feed and not just on his story, and the caption on that was, okay, man, send me original photo. Are you done with your hates? I think this is my profile and I can post what I want. And it seems like people in the comment section of that post are still not really having it with this picture. But honestly, like I said, I thought the photo was photoshopped for sure, no doubt about it after seeing yesterday's picture. But do I think Michael Krizo was the one that did it? I still don't think he did, and I don't think he needs to. Like I said before, Michael Krizo is giant with or without Photoshop. He knows that. He's proven that on the Olympia stage. I don't think he has any reason to post a Photoshop picture. Now, is there a chance that he noticed it was Photoshopped before he reposted it? Possibly. But I also noticed that during the weekend at this guest posing, he was taking pictures with a lot of different people, and if you looked at his story all weekend, he was reposting pretty much anything and everything that people tagged him in, just one after another after another. And there is a chance, I think, that he saw this picture, thought he looked big at first glance, and just reposted it on his feed, not really knowing that or noticing that it was Photoshop, but it clearly was. And he admits that, which is the point. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think he did it, or the other guy did it? And do you think when he reposted it, he knew or noticed that it was Photoshop? That's really the question. Personally, I don't think Michael Krizo photoshopped it himself. Now, next up in the news, the Olympia issues an apology for the whole scandal the other day that we were talking about, where they basically posted on their Olympia TV show. They've got this show called Primetime Muscle, and on that show, they discuss pro bodybuilding, they critique the athletes, and they posted what a lot of people found to be a bit of a distasteful post the other day that generated a lot of discussion on Reddit. It was, all over social media, kind of people sharing screenshots of this because they did, in fact, get enough backlash for this post that they ended up deleting it from their Instagram. So they did issue an apology, but first I want to show you guys again to give you guys some context of what we're talking about here if you were not aware. So this was an Instagram post on their feed promoting a video that was on the Olympia TV YouTube channel with a thumbnail that said Olympia threat or bust, and then it had a picture of Ian Valliere and James Hollingshead. But then furthermore in the caption, and this was on the Mr. Olympia actual Instagram page promoting the Primetime Muscle clip, said, are they Olympia failures or promises? Ian Valliere, Antoine Vaillant, James Hollingshead, and Steve Kuclo are bodybuilders that need to make a move in their respective careers. The experts analyze their possible future strategies. Watch on Olympia TV. So this was posted by the Olympia on the Olympia page, but specifically by a guy named Tarek El Gundi, who I think is actually a really good guy, by the way, and I don't think he intended to hurt any feelings with this statement. But I do definitely understand why it was interpreted that way. So he posted from his personal account and said, words are powerful. I learned this over the weekend when I wrote a post to promote the latest episode of Primetime Muscle. My intention was to analyze whether a few athletes didn't live up to expectations at the 2022 Olympia. Unfortunately, I used the word failure then when I wrote the post, implying failure to live up to expectations. A terrible choice of words on my part. Olympia athletes are the best in the world, and I've reached out to Ian and James to apologize for the poor choice of words. They were both very gracious about it. Bodybuilding fans are passionate, and I wouldn't want it any other way. So I thought it was a very classy move for him to apologize. This was reposted, obviously, on the official Mr. Olympia Instagram, which is where the original post was actually made and written by Tarek. And I thought this was actually a really well-worded apology. And again, I don't think the issue was what was said as much as who said it. And I'm not referring specifically to Tarek. I'm referring to the fact that this program, this show, this Primetime Muscle, is the official outlet of the Olympia. The Olympia is a competition. So I think the issue isn't what was said, because I think all bodybuilding criticism and analysis should be kind of on the table, as long as it's not overtly just like a blatant lie or slander or whatever. If it's honest criticism about a competition, about a competitor, about their physique, I think anything should go. No matter how it's worded, it should be okay for any bodybuilding media outlet or journalist or blogger or whatever you want to call it. But the issue, I think, that most people had with this, again, was not what was said. It was the fact that the Mr. Olympia is the one that said it. It was their social media that posted it. It was them that echoed this message. And a lot of people have an issue with the Mr. Olympia as an organization having, you know, this kind of discourse about athletes that are competing in their competition. So again, I think that's the main issue that they ran into here and are going to continue to run into, is should a competition have a media organization representing it with its name on the channel, and then discussing athletes and then using terminology like this? That's the issue. So again, I don't think there's an issue with exactly what was said. I think the issue is who said it, even though I still think failure wasn't the best choice of words, especially coming from that outlet. Even if it's harsh, I think they still should be able to say it, but I definitely understand why fans think it's not a good look for the Olympia to do this. And again, I think they will continue to face this issue. And being the representation of a competition, you're going to get accused of bias when you have conversations in a negative light about certain athletes like Ian, like James. Even though they said they don't have a problem with it, I can see why the fans perceive it as such, to have the organization kind of co-signing negative critiques and labels assigned to certain athletes. Failure is a label that was assigned to these athletes. Even though it was a bad choice of words and supposedly a mistake, still, a lot of people view that as the competition itself assigning that word to an athlete that will continue to be, in theory, competing at that competition. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Personally, I thought this was a great apology. I thought it was very well worded, and I actually do believe that he didn't intend any disrespect. I mean, Tarek has always seemed like a really good guy. He's always been really helpful to me, but I do think this will be an interesting issue that will probably continue to happen as this platform grows. The Olympia having its own media platform, I can see this issue being something that will, this isn't going to be the last time that something like this comes up, I'm sure. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Honestly, I think really it's just a slow period as far as bodybuilding news is concerned. That's the only reason this is getting so much discussion. It's because there's not much else to talk about. Realistically, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but it seems like a lot of the fans did have a big issue with it, and I totally can see why, and I totally understand why a lot of people felt it was disrespectful for the Olympia to endorse such a statement. Now, next up in the news, another physique update from Larry Wheels showing off more of that road to the classic physique in this favorite classic pose, the single arm front double bicep with a kind of variation of a vacuum pose in addition to that. I guess you would call this a front single bicep with a vacuum. But it's in shots like this where I think people are reminded a little bit that Larry really does have a pretty impressive physique, and I think he really is built for these types of poses. It kind of reminds me of Robbie Robinson, the way that Larry has these crazy bicep peaks. Robbie Robinson was known for doing these kind of one-arm versions, not a front double bicep, but he would do these single bicep poses because he had the peaks to do so. And I think, you know, people need to realize Larry has that too, and it's impressive. Now, granted, that's not going to do anything for his symmetry points, but you guys can see what I mean. Larry was actually getting a lot of flack when he said he was doing classic physique, of people saying he's not going to do well. And I actually think he's going to surprise a lot of people. I do think he's going to do well. Like I said, we're not talking about Larry Wheels going to the Olympia. We're not talking about him doing well as a pro. We're talking about Larry Wheels as an amateur. Can he win a show? Could he get to a national level show? Could he place well at a national show? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about Larry Wheels versus C-Bum. And I think people have been really critical of Larry just because he is such a big name and he is so popular. But I think we need to lower the bar a little bit, because really his bar of entry is very low. He's just competing as a novice classic physique guy. He's competed in bodybuilding before, but never classic. So we got to keep in mind that the bar for Larry is as a novice amateur classic physique competitor. And with that bar, I think he's going to do very well. I don't think he's trying to necessarily be a Chris Bumstead. I'm sure he's going to see how far he can get with it. I mean, if he turns pro, I'm sure he's going to pursue a pro show. But again, for now, the conversation is really just how's he going to do as an amateur novice classic guy, and I think he's going to do well. And realistically, he's probably doing it largely for content purposes, not necessarily as a career move to become a classic physique competitor. He switches, between these different sports because it makes very entertaining content for his audience, and I think we should be appreciative of that. He really puts it all on the line there. And the final story that I have for you guys today, Hassan Mustafa seems to be getting back on track, and it looks like he's back in prep after he was derailed by an illness last year, which kept him from competing in the Olympia, despite the fact that he was doing very well earlier in the season. And judging by the shape he's in here, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up doing the Cali Pro again, which is mid-May. And he looks like he actually is in really good shape, so I think we're going to see him on stage within the next month or so. But he has not formally announced which show he's doing. But based on this progress and based on this condition, I would say it's going to be sooner rather than later. And you've got two really big shows coming up in May in the New York Pro and the Cali Pro. Well, the New York Pro a lot bigger than Cali, but both opportunities to win and qualify for the Olympia. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him do one or both of those shows as kind of his return to the competitive scene. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. That's going to wrap it up for the video. I hope you guys did, in fact, enjoy it. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out. All right, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel if you enjoy the content. Also, check out my Instagram at Nick Strength Power. My Facebook page, which is simply Nick Strength and Power. My secondary YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Vlogs, for vlogs and bonus content that you will not see on this channel. And consider subscribing to my third YouTube channel, Nick Strength and Pokemon, which is all things Pokemon and trading card games, completely unrelated to this channel. So if you're into that, give that one a look. And all links to merchandise and social media will be in the description box below. If you guys want a Nick Strength and Power t-shirt, that will be in the Shopify link below. Have a great day.